Have you ever felt like you just needed to take a break? Like you're mentally and physically tired and you had nothing left to give? And then when you finally do take that day off, you feel guilty as if you're being unproductive? Well, if you have, this video is for you. Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Fakir. I'm the co-founder of Jace Fakir Incorporated, and this is Time Out. Now, the purpose for Time Out is to provide content that's going to motivate, encourage, and push you as you're pursuing your dreams and your goals. You know, that's right, life is a pursuit. You're chasing after something, and sometimes you're running into brick walls where you feel like you're not making any grounds, and those can be very discouraging moments. In fact, it is in those moments where most people give up on their dreams and goals. But here at Time Out, I'm going to provide content that's going to help you to be relentless, because giving up is not an option. Every once in a while, we need to pick me up and restart so we can go after our dreams. So if that sounds like something that you need in your life, go ahead and like and subscribe to the videos, and be prepared, because every week I'm going to bring you something that's going to help you to push you towards your dreams and your goals. So, taking a break. Let me tell you where this came from. Well, just this past Sunday, I was responsible for giving the message at church. It was my Sunday to speak. And so throughout the week, I'm trying to balance work, I'm balancing school, I'm balancing ministry. Not to mention, you know, my wife and I, we've been married for 14 years and we have 4 beautiful children. So I'm daddy and I'm husband at home as well. And sometimes you just feel like you just can have a lot on your plate. And so I'm trying to, in the midst of that, sit down and prepare a message for Sunday. And I just was drawing a blank. I couldn't come up with anything, and the days were coming. It's Wednesday, it's Thursday, it's Friday, and I'm like, well, what am I going to speak about? And finally I sat down one late evening when everyone else was asleep. That's probably when the house is the quietest, and I'm getting ready to try to go and looking through my notes to see, okay, what can I do? What can I speak on? Nothing came. And finally I heard a thought, and that thought said, why don't you just take a break? Why don't you just sleep on it? Go to bed. And then try again. And in my mind, I'm like, take a break. You know, I need every moment I can get. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to come up with something. And nothing that I was coming up with was speaking to me. And I said, you know what I finally did? I took the laptop and I shut it down and I went to bed. It was early, but I went to bed, and laying down, I'm starting to feel guilty. But then that tiredness was kind of overriding the guilt. Eventually I went to sleep. But guess what? It was the best thing I could have done. Because the next day I woke up and I grabbed the laptop and I said, okay, let's see where I left off. And then you know what I did? I deleted everything, and then suddenly it just started to flow. From my mind to my fingers, from my fingers to the keyboard, from the keyboard to the congregation. And it was something that felt just so good. And it made me think, you know, there's times in life where you just need to take a break. I know it makes you feel guilty. This is not something you hear taught often. You know, you hear you gotta grind, you gotta grind, you gotta grind, you gotta go. And that's good. You know, you're not letting your foot off the gas. But every once in a while, there's something on the road called a rest stop. There's a rest stop, and it's there for a reason, because if you're falling asleep, if you're just wandering aimlessly, if there's no goal, if you're not attentive, it can lead to a wreck down the road. Every once in a while, you gotta stop and pour back in yourself. You can't invest in others when you're not investing in yourself, when you have nothing to give. You have to recharge. Think about a cell phone. You know, the purpose we buy cell phones is because they feature all these features that they have. They talk about, oh, your phone can do this, do that, whatever the case is. And you look at life today, people can't live without your phones. But guess what? Your phones are useless if it's not charged. And so the thing is, you have to every once in a while plug in. Otherwise, you have no use of the phone. The worst thing is when you go out and you look at your phone and it's dead, or you get that 15% notification that your phone is going to die soon. Because you realize once the phone dies, it's not valuable anymore. And that's the same thing for us. There's so much things that we have to offer, but if we don't take time to charge up, to pour back in ourselves, if we don't take a day every once in a while, you'll find yourself to be burnt out. For me, if I'm burnt out, I'm no longer useful for myself, for the people who rely on me, for my family, for my 4 kids. And so I have to take a moment every once in a while to pour back into me. It's not selfish. Stop feeling guilty. Take a break. Yes, take a break. If somebody asks you, what are you doing? Say, Josh told me to take a break. He told me to take a time out. So close the door and don't knock it. We need to do that every once in a while. TD Jakes, someone I look up to. He said something that really spoke to me. He says he put himself on his calendar. He says, I put myself on my calendar. He was having a conversation with Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey asked him, how do you balance all these things that you're doing? He says, because I had to learn to put me on the calendar. There's days in the week or in the month where it's me having to go out there and just be able to clear my mind. Because you know what? It's in those moments after you're fully charged that you are able to operate at maximum capacity. So how often do you take a break? How often do you take a time out? How often do you go and you fish knowledge and you go to people and you're doing your research to see what it is that speaks to you and you edify yourself? Because it's only then that you can turn around and feed the people. You think about it in the airplanes. Just this past Christmas, my family and I went to Jamaica, and on the airplane, you're sitting down and you're looking at all the tutorials, and the flight attendants is telling you how to fasten your seatbelt, this, that, and whatever. And then they talk about the oxygen mask when it comes down, and they say, make sure you have enough oxygen first before you try to help other people out. So it's understanding that the only way you can invest in anyone else is by understanding you have to first invest in yourselves. So if you feel like you're run down, if you feel like you got nothing left, if you feel like, man, I can really use a day, don't feel guilty for doing it, because you're doing it because you're investing in yourselves so that you can be your best self for everyone else. And so that's my time out for you today. That night of rest, it was one of the best sleeps I had, and I woke up and I was like, all right, let's go ahead and take care of this. And thank God I was able to deliver a message through the use of God, that people responded and said, man, I felt this felt like this was for me. But can you imagine if I went up there empty? I would have been completely useless and I wouldn't have been able to maximize the opportunity. So don't feel guilty. Take a break, take a time out, take a moment and walk away, and then come back with a new mind, a refreshed mind, recharged mind, because it's only then that you can be your best self. So put yourself on your calendar. Every once in a while, take a day for you. This is not to enable anybody who lives their life on a break. I'm talking about those who work hard. Every once in a while, take a break and pour back in yourself. And I hope this blessed you. Again, my name is Joshua Fakir. If this helped you, then please go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel and share this encouragement with someone else who is going through. They're at their wits' end. They're on the verge of burnout. They feel like they don't know where they're going to get energy to do whatever they have to do. Let them know. Don't feel guilty about taking the break, because you're investing in yourself so you can invest in others. All right, so I pray this blessed you. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you on our timeout next week.
Can't restrain my mind. I look into the mirror and I look into my eyes, 'cause I know what I see and I know what is mine.